Guys, it's Sarah, and today we're going to talk about all the books I read in the month of July. July was interesting. July was another month where I felt like I was starting to get a little slumpy. I ended up taking a few days off of reading just because I needed to give myself a little bit of distance because I could just feel myself going down that road. So I gave myself 3 or 4 days to just not read a single word. I just did some other things, and then luckily that desire came back for me and I was able to finish some stuff up. But I ended up reading 7 books and then I had 1 DNF. All right, let's just go ahead and start with the DNF and get it out of the way. You guys, I felt so bad for DNFing this book because it was a book exchange book, a Christmas book exchange. And so this was sent to me from Lindsay. And I felt so bad. And of course, she was like, do not feel bad. Put the book down, Sarah. I don't even know what that book was about. It was like a cover buy. So I felt very bad. This is the first time I've actually DNF'd like a Christmas book exchange book, but I just can't. I could not continue reading it, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so that was 4th of July Creek by Smith Henderson. I actually started this on 4th of July. I was like, oh, fun. Yay, let's do this. Okay. I read 125 pages of this book. It took me a long time to read 125 pages. And the problem I had with this book was the writing style. The premise of this sounds fantastic. And if I had read the back of this book in a bookstore, I would have been interested in picking it up. So it wasn't that. The premise is that we are following a social worker who comes into contact with a young boy who is in a family of big-time survivalists who live in the mountains and want nothing to do with government, healthcare, like nothing like that. They are also very abusive towards this child. I got a little bit of that. We met the child, we met the father, and then that was it. Like they were in one scene in 125 pages. Okay. So definitely taking a long time to get to the actual point of the story. Like I hadn't even hit that part before I put it down. So the premise sounds fantastic. However, the writing in here, I had such a hard time following the story for a couple of reasons. One, it was all over the place. It was like, let's explore this. And then we're going to explore this now. And now we're going to come over here and explore this. And I'm like, but how do these things tie together? And then there were also instances where we're following these characters, but their behaviors are so extremely different in different situations. It was really confusing. And I had a hard time understanding any of them. So we start out with our main character who is a social worker, and he seems in the very beginning very caring and loving and wanting the best for these kids and blah, blah, blah. And then the next scene, he's at a different house and he could care less about this kid. And he was acting like a jerk. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this the same character? So I had a hard time like understanding the characters and understanding, who they really were. And then the big thing also is that the writing in here, the actual writing of the words seemed like a first draft. It seemed like there were sentences that needed to be rewritten. And I would reread a sentence over and over again going, this doesn't make sense. This needs like 2 more words for this to make sense. It seemed like a first draft in a finished book. A finished paperback book. So I don't know. It was just weird. And I couldn't figure out if it was just like, that's the dialect here, but it wasn't a person talking. It was like a narration. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I had a hard time with it. And I just ultimately ended up putting it down, which hurts my heart. Lindsay told me not to worry, but it still hurts my heart. So yeah, since this was a DNF, I'm definitely not going to hang on to it. I'm going to put it up for sale, but yeah. Okay, books I did finish. First one is The Marvelers by Danielle Clayton. This is a book that I buddy read with Amanda from the Curly Reader, and this was a gift from my husband for Mother's Day, so I was very happy to get to it. This is the first book in a new middle grade series. So this follows a young girl named Ella. She is a conjurer. That is what her family is. They are magic wielders, and they can conjure things, basically. That is their special talent, if you will. So she gets invited to go to this academy, and a conjurer has never attended this academy before. So this is something new and different. Conjurers are tended to be pushed out. They're kind of looked down upon, things like that. So she gets invited to go because there is a big push to have them included in this, and, let's see what will happen. So she's going to be kind of their guinea pig, if you will, to be the first one there. So she's very excited, all she's ever wanted to do, and so she's going to be going to the school. So you see her going to the school. It is in the clouds, you guys. Like, the school is actually in the clouds. And so you see her go there and try to get integrated and meeting people and meeting challenges and learning more about not only her family, but about conjurers as a history in general. So that's all I'm going to say. A whole lot happens. A whole lot happens. And I thoroughly enjoyed this book. The only thing that I didn't love about this book is the ending. I felt like we got to a climax part, and the climax felt very fast. It just felt like, and we're done. And I was like, wait a minute, we've been building up to this whole book. And then it came, and then it was like finished really, really quickly and a little bit conveniently. So I was like, So I was trying to keep in mind that this is a middle grade book. So it doesn't necessarily need to be multiple chapters of conflict. I get that. But still, I felt like it was a little bit rushed, and I felt like it could have been drawn out a little bit more and had a little bit more action as far as that whole scene went, basically. So that's the only thing that I kind of wish I had a little bit more of in this book. It wasn't enough to knock any stars off. I gave this 5 stars. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed my reading experience with this, and I think that middle grade readers would absolutely love it for sure. So I did love it. Like, don't get me wrong. That was just the one thing that I wish I had a little bit more of. I used a lot of book darts. If you can see, lots of book darts in here happening. And yeah, I really loved it. I loved the characters. I loved Jason, and I need more of him. Like, seriously, he was my favorite character. I wanted more of him in this book. I hope there's more of him in the next book. Please, please, please. I absolutely loved him. So I hope that there's more of that coming soon. But yeah, so I really, really enjoyed it. There is a theme in here of bullying. So definitely something to be aware of. That's a big thing in here. She's definitely treated terribly by not only fellow students, but adults as well. So there is going to be that in here. So warning on that one, but loved it. 5 stars, high recommend. This one I'm definitely keeping because I will definitely be getting the next book whenever that ends up coming out. It just came out and it's book 1, so it's going to be a while before number 2 comes out, but definitely middle grade I want to have on my shelves. Next one I picked up is a book that is a Christmas book exchange book, so yay on that. And it was sent to me from Lindsay. This was something that I picked out of my TBR jar for a summer TBR, if you will. I've been reading some of those. And it was also a prompt out of my TBR jar for my lowest rated book, The Jet Setters by Amanda Eyre Ward. I gave this 4 stars. Lowest rated book. So it was like a 3.1 something. I was shocked. But I really enjoyed this, you guys. It did take me a little while to read because I was in the middle of this when I was starting to feel slumpy. So I did take a little bit of a break. But I did enjoy this book. I thought it was fantastic. So this one follows a family, and they are a little bit, I don't want to say estranged, because they're really not. They just don't talk a whole lot anymore. They're all living in different places. And it's a mother and her 3 children. So the mother wins this all-inclusive cruise that she can bring her entire family on. And so she's like, we are going to do this. This is something we need. We're all going to come together. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great time. And so everybody comes together and they go on this European cruise. Okay. There are so many secrets. This is just filled with drama. Every single child and the mother in this book have secrets, things they're not revealing, things they're feeling that they're not talking about, things they're trying to hide, just like all sorts of things. And you kind of see all that happening at the same time, and you see how people are reacting to different things, and things start coming out and all that kind of stuff. So it's just filled with so much soap opera drama. It's a fun time. And it's all taking place in this cruise ship and in European countries. So, yeah. I had a great time reading it. I thought it was so much fun. I really liked the characters. The mom was a little bit over the top for me. She was a little bit much, and she was very sexual, which was interesting. But she was in like her 70s, I think. So it was kind of like, all right. Not that 70-year-old women don't have sexual desires, but it was a lot. So there's that. There are also themes in here of suicide and alcoholism, so something to be aware of on that. Infidelity as well is also included in here, so there is that. But you definitely see all of the siblings both push each other away and come together at the same time. So it's really interesting how that all worked out. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I think it's a great summer read. Lots of drama. Good time. This one I don't feel the need to hang on to. I'm probably going to go ahead and put it up on Pango for sale. But yeah, it was really good. I just don't think I'd ever reread it. Next book that I read is an audiobook that I listened to, and that is Rivals by Catherine McGee. This is the third book in the American Royals series. There's going to be another one for sure, the way this one ended. And this was narrated by Brittany Presley, and I thought the audiobook was great. And I really enjoyed this one. So this is, again, a continuation. And it's hard for me to go into the details of this book because it is the third book in a series, so I don't want to like ruin anything. But the basic premise of American Royals as a whole is that it is exploring the idea of if George Washington was not a president, he was a king. And so it's people who are still in George Washington's bloodline who are ruling America. So there's a king of America and a queen of America, not a president. You don't get choices on who becomes what. So it's a royal system in America. So it's a lot of fun. It follows 3 siblings who are the children who are set to inherit the royalty, and all of their hot messes that are happening. So this one was really good. This one, I ended up giving 4 stars. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think the whole series has been 4 stars for me. They're not like fantastic great, but they're a fun time, a really quick, easy listen. And I enjoy myself when I'm listening to it. Lots of drama, 100% lots of drama. And this one, there was a part at the end that I really didn't like. And I just kind of went, really? That was kind of a cop-out. So it had to do with like a voting situation that was happening, and just, it was weird. And I just didn't like the way that it happened and turned out. And it was just like, eh. So that's the only thing I really kind of rolled my eyes at in this book. But for the most part, I really liked it and thought it was good. The next one that I listened to was also a library book that I downloaded, and that is Taste by Stanley Tucci. This is a memoir from him. Oh gosh, you guys. Okay. I love Stanley Tucci. I have such a crush on this man. It's like stupid. I have had a crush on him for a long time, but now it's even deeper, which I knew was going to happen. And I just love him. I think he's such a beautiful soul. And he really opens up in this one about his family and, you know, growing up in an Italian family and what that meant and what that looked like. This is mostly about food, not gonna lie. There's a little bit about his childhood, like not surrounding food. There's a little bit about his career, not surrounding food. There's a little bit about, you know, working on different movies that is not about food, but it kind of always ties back to food in some way, somehow. So there is that. And just things that he's experienced because of food, or things that have made his life better because of the food that he's surrounded by. It's fantastic. So this book will definitely make you hungry. I have never wanted a bowl of pasta so much in my life. And I didn't want to like go to Olive Garden. I wanted like homemade I wanted Stanley Tucci in my kitchen making me pasta. That's what I wanted. But he reads this himself. It's fantastic. It made me laugh. I laughed out loud quite a bit. And it was really fun to listen to while I was cooking. That was fun to do. And it's just fantastic. It was delightful. I loved it. I love him. Definitely recommend if you like memoirs or if you like books about food. Definitely. It's fantastic. Okay, the next one that I read. I finally finished this book, you guys. Okay. Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. Story behind this. I started this on March 30th. And then April 1st is when all that medical stuff started happening with my daughter. Literally, like I started this book the next day, medical stuff started happening, put it down, and hadn't picked it back up. So I finally picked it back up. And I really, really enjoyed this book, you guys. Like really, really. Okay, so this is a mystery book with some thriller aspects of it. I wouldn't go into this saying this is a thriller. I would say this is more heavily mystery because you're trying to figure some things out and trying to piece some things together throughout the book. But there are definitely thrilling scenes in here for sure. It's just not like constant go, go, go type thing. So this follows a woman named Paris. She is married to a famous musician, and the book opens up with her coming back to consciousness in her bathroom. Her husband is dead in the bathtub, covered in blood. She has a straight razor in her hand, and the cops are yelling at her to drop the weapon. That's how this book opens up. So, yeah. So what's going on there? So we spend this book trying to figure out what actually happened. Did she do this? Was she framed? Like what's going on here? She also has a past that she's trying to keep hidden for certain reasons. She doesn't want anyone to know who she is. She doesn't want anyone to know where she's from, because there's some stuff that happened in her past that is very dangerous and could very well catch up to her. However, her husband is famous, therefore she's automatically in the news because she is accused of murdering him. So some things start coming back from her past to haunt her because of that, because she's getting some publicity. So she's trying to keep that quiet. However, that's we all know how social media works, and that doesn't really happen. So this was really, really good. I loved the messed up aspects in here that Jennifer Hillier came up with. There were so many scenes where I was so physically uncomfortable. Oh man. And scenes that were just like, oh my gosh. Like I think I said out loud, oh my gosh, a couple times. And yeah, I really liked the way that it unfolded. Definitely. I was definitely trying to piece some things together throughout the whole way. I was consistently interested in what was happening in this book. Like that's probably the best way I can say. It wasn't like I can't turn the pages fast enough, but I was consistently wanting to turn the pages, consistently interested, consistently trying to, piece things together. And I thought it was great. It will definitely not be my last Jennifer Hillier. I definitely want to read all of her books for sure. And I gave this one 4 stars. There are definitely some hard themes in here that are explored, discussed, shown. So in here we have some suicidal things happening. We have drug use. We have child abuse. We have child molestation. We have self-harm. So those are some of the big themes in here that are going to be explored in some way, somehow. So if any of those are not okay with you, just be aware of that. This one I'm definitely keeping because this is the ARC copy that glows in the dark. If you've seen that on my Instagram, it glows really, really well in the dark. I also do have a finished copy from Book of the Month as well, so I'm going to keep both on my shelves. But I can't give away a glow in the dark art copy. Come on. It's really cool. Okay. And then I finished the book that I posted for my first book haul revisit, where I picked the book that I was the most excited about at the time when I hauled those books. And that first one was Watching You by Lisa Jewell. And I loved it. I loved it. I gave this book 5 stars. I did not expect that, to be honest with you. I thought, like every other Lisa Jewell book I've read so far has been 4. So I was kind of thinking maybe this would be the same, but I loved it. I literally didn't really have anything about this book that would cause me to knock a star off. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So this follows a community, and everybody's watching everybody else. And there's certain reasons that people are watching other people. And it's all very sneaky, and people are just nosy. Some people are just nosy. Some people have very specific reasons for watching other people. Some people think that they're being watched, and so therefore they're watching other people in return. It's like, it's a whole thing. Like, everybody knows everybody's business. And then some people don't know that everybody knows all their business. So that's like the big thing in here. There is also a murder that happens in this book. And so we're going back and forth a little bit between things that were happening leading up to it and then police interviews of people who were involved. So you're kind of going back and forth with that. So that there are police interviews strewn throughout this as well. And there is definitely some darker themes in here as well that I'll tell you about in a minute. But I finished this book and I loved the outcome. I loved where it ended up going. It wasn't something I necessarily saw coming, so that was fantastic. But I finished this book going, but I still don't trust this person. But I still think there's something going on here, and I still think there's something here. Like, I still have questions, Lisa. I still have questions, Lisa. And like, I don't know. I don't fully trust that there are certain people in this book who are completely innocent. I still think things are going on. So there's that. It really gave me feelings. There was a scene in this book where I wanted to throw this book across the room because a character made such a presumptuous move that I was like, gross. Are you serious? And I wanted to throw the book. Not because I was mad at the book, because it gave me such feelings that I just wanted to punch somebody in the face. I wanted to punch this character in the face for making such a decision like that. I was like, are you kidding me? So there's that. Yeah, I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, like I said. Okay, the themes in here that we need to be aware of. Suicide, murder, bullying to an extreme bullying. There are also talks of like grooming in here as well. So that's kind of a big theme in here. Yeah, so those are things that are happening in here. So be aware of those. But oh man, so good. This one I'm thinking I'm going to keep. The other 2 Lisa Jewell books I read were both on audio, and I don't own copies of them. I don't feel the need to own copies of them, but this one I think I want to hang on to. So I really liked it that much. Okay, and the last one that I finished for the month of July is a 5-star prediction, so I'm not going to tell you what my rating is quite yet. I'll just tell you a little bit about it. But that is Taylor Jenkins Reid, and this is Maybe in Another Life. This is a book exchange book that Lindsay sent me. Oh my gosh, I read 3 books that Lindsay sent me. Well, I read 2 and DNF'd 1. I didn't even piece that together. So, this is one of her backlist books that I have been needing to read. I'm working on her backlist. I still have a couple more to go, but Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of my favorite authors, and I definitely is someone that I want to read everything that she's read. I'm getting there. I'm not quite there yet, but so this is one of the backlists that I needed to read. And I listened to this on audio because Julia Whalen is the narrator, and she's my favorite by far, so I knew I was going to listen to it. Now, I will say, I actually wanted to look and see when this was published, because I will say, compared to today, I could tell that this was one of Taylor's earlier works, and I could tell that Julia Whalen, well, I think her narration was pretty good. But if I read this one or listened to this one and then listened to another one back to back, one of her newer ones, I think there'd be a little bit of a difference. So this one was 2015. Okay. And I could tell the writing in here was a little bit more simple, a little bit more to the point, a little bit more like lots of he said, she said, type of stuff like that. So I could definitely tell, which is fine. Okay, this follows our main character, Hannah. She has just moved back to LA, and she finds herself in a situation one night where she's at a bar and she's with her best friend, and then she runs into an old flame of hers. So she needs to make a choice on whether or not she is going to go home with a friend or she's going to go home with her ex-boyfriend. And so she's trying to make that decision. What's going to be the best decision for her? And then we go back and forth between what would happen if she goes home with a friend, her life takes a very different turn versus if she goes home with her ex-boyfriend. Takes a very different turn. So it's very much a sliding doors thing. You're seeing her life in both ways. It's going back and forth each chapter on we take this path or we take this path. So you will learn my rating here soon for this one. And yeah, so this one I'm definitely keeping on my shelves. Okay, guys, I feel like I've been talking for a long time. That was kind of a lot. So let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you read any of these books. Let me know if you're going to pick any up, if you're going to avoid any. Let me know all the good things down below. And I will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.